What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast, episode number 140. On tonight's podcast, we will look back at today's inaugural game of the Taça da Liga against Nacional. We will look at the year 2014 and see what some of the more marking moments were for us. And Enzo's exit, of course, which is the topic of the moment. And we'll finish up by previewing the Penafiel game that comes up. Not this week. Is it this weekend that comes up? Yeah. So, anyway, with me tonight, Mr. Steve Santos06.
Hey, where'd you put it in that zero? There's no zero.
That's what we're seeing right now on the screen. We see
you're only 06 because you're almost at. If you get any more fangirls, you'll be a 006.
006. I like
and
that.
Instead of being a license to kill, be licensed to love. That's why you're a 006.
Lord help us.
Cristiano Oliveira is right next to me.
Hola.
And
how you guys doing?
From down under, Mr. Peggy.
Hey, it's fangirls and one fanboy. Don't forget.
Yeah, he's not even ashamed of it. You know what I
mean? He makes no qualms in hiding it.
At all.
The feelings mutual, Peggy. Feelings mutual.
That's right. We love Peggy, and we always have to. We'd love to have him on. Marco was supposed to be on, but some family emergency kept him from being up all night. Anyway. Tonight it is the last episode of the year, so we'll be concentrating on 2014 with one of the segments, as I have already said. But let's get right into this Nacional game, the first game of the Taça da Liga, which Benfica played Nacional at Estádio da Luz today, the first game after the Christmas vacation, and it seemed that the team was a little rusty, as expected. And I'll give you the lineup real quick. Júlio César was in goal, Maxi, César, Jardel, and Almeida across the back. Cristante and Talisca in the middle. Pizzi and John on the wings, and Jonas and Lima up front. So Enzo's gone. Talisca seems to be the one choice. I think that I don't know. I think that right now, with Enzo gone and with the guy that's going to sub Enzo needing as many reps as possible, it's very possible that we saw here, and Pedro, I'll go to you first. It's very possible that we saw here the one guy that's going to be filling in Enzo's spot until JJ figures something else out.
Yeah, we're talking about Talisca, aren't we, at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, watching the game, it felt like that he wasn't really doing much, and I was watching people commenting, and it was weird because I was thinking the same thing. But when the changes happened in the second half, we kind of saw the game change for Benfica. I know that obviously we're coming back from the Christmas break, and the team was probably getting fatigued, but I'm interested maybe to look back at the game and see what he was doing off the ball, to see if that was really, what is important at the moment.
Well,
right.
It's always super important for JJ to control the defensive transitions, and if he thinks that Talisca is the one that's most best prepared to do that, then I'm sure that's why he's chosen him to start with. There's also like we always say, the meal ticket, and we're going to play him as much as we can. Personally, from what I've seen, I'd like Samaris at 8 better than Talisca. But since you watched the whole game, Peggy, and I only watched a little bit of it, how bad was Pizzi? Was he bad enough to be subbed off at halftime? Because I only watched like the last 10 minutes or so, the second half. Or first half, sorry.
Well, he seemed to be, combining well with Maxi. Maxi obviously was doing a heck of a job on the right, giving Marcel heaps of problems, and obviously he got the cross for the goal by Jonas. But I didn't know whether maybe Ola John would have been the first one to go, but Yeah, it was just I didn't think he had a bad game, but obviously he changed the whole middle of the field. So whether he was doing it in sections to see how it affect the team, but I think we'll see more of Pizzi as the season goes by. If we don't get anyone in, and the injuries don't come back as quick as we think. So,
Yeah, I have to be. Go ahead.
sorry. No, I was just Kristan in that in the six role was really interesting. I thought he did a good job, and as even a younger kid than the guys we've just talked about, he was winning the balls well. He was as you say, he was estava lançar o jogo. He was starting the attacks well. It seemed to me the team weren't happy going through the middle in attacks, so he got the ball and he just pushed it out wide, and we attacked down the wing. So I thought Kristan had a really good game, and that was very promising.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I didn't watch the game, but I did hear a lot of the second half. And from what I understand, Maxi and Kristan had very good games. Samari had a good game when he came in. Changed a little bit of the complexion, a little bit more, like Steve likes to call it, pulmão or lung to the midfield. And that was a big change. So we really don't know what's going to happen when Enzo leaves, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But what I wanted to really ask you, Steven, and this is probably something that we haven't seen before. There's a clear attempt to giving Kristan playing time, especially on these off games and cup games and games where he's rotating the squad. You can always count on Kristan to be there, and it's probably something that I can't really remember JJ doing with another player in recent history.
Not a player that young, that's for sure. I mean, every chance that we get, we're playing him in some of these off games, like you like to call it, which could lead us to believe that maybe JJ is thinking Samari said at 8, and by doing that, he's going to give as many minutes as possible to Kristan so that he could get used to playing the 6. I'll tell you one thing. I really enjoy watching Kristan play. The way he spreads the ball around the pitch, beautiful. He's got a very nice long ball on him, like that crossfield pass, always dead steady, right where it's got to be. I'm really enjoying him. I honestly think that Samari's, the more I see him, he looks a lot more comfortable at 8, and I think he'll end up doing well for us. It's just what ends up happening, like we've mentioned in the past with Talisca and Jonas and all that. But my favorite 11, after now that Enzo has left, would have to be the one that finished this game. Minus, I'd probably choose Salvi over Ola John, but
Salvi didn't finish Ola John didn't finish the game.
That's what I'm saying. Based on who's available, I like the Ola John. Gaetan on each flank, Kristan and Samaris in the middle, with Jonas at the 9.5 or whatever you'd like to call it, and Lima up top. I like the look of that lineup. I think it's got good balance on both sides of the pitch. It's got a nice ball playing midfielder at the 6, somebody with a little bit more energy at 8. I like it. Will JJ stick to it? We'll see.
Here's the other thing also that I'm thinking, and apparently Salvi is going to be gone for a couple of weeks. He has some surgery on his forearm. He's going to be gone for a couple of weeks, which opens up a big thing to the right. We all know that Gaetan belongs in the left, and that's his rightful owned space or position, if you want to call it. But now, all of a sudden, with the midfield falling into place, meaning most likely Samaris will be dropped into the defensive midfield role, and Talisca will play ahead of him. Now you got a spot on the right for these guys with an opportunity to come in and actually make a difference.
I think Benfica is in good hands though with what's his name, Ola John and even Suleimani. Yeah, I like
even Pizzi.
Even Pizzi could play on the outside, but I think George Jesus is going to try to play Pizzi in the middle a little bit more. He's going to try to convert him more into central midfield. But it's upsetting, and like you said before, we'll get into Enzo a little bit later. But I think our boy Talisca, he's going to play. Steve made a great point. He's the middle ticket. The guy will absolutely play, and I don't think I've been shy on my thoughts and feelings on Cristante. I think the guy has a ton of talent. I think Benfica and Jorge Jesus believes in him as much as I do. And I think he'll be the next guy, aside from Talisca and Gaetan. He'll be the next guy in line that maybe in a year or two will make the big jump to the bigger leagues, because everything that Jorge Jesus has done with players very similar to him, has led me to believe that this player will go on the same path as a Matic and everybody else. It takes him a little while to adjust to Jorge Jesus' tactics, but he has the footwork, he has the pulmão, like Steve likes to say, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that this guy will be a very, very good player for Benfica, at least for the next couple of years before the big sharks come get him.
What do you think about the situation on the right, Steve?
A couple things happened today in the game that makes me think a little bit about it. Ola John had an off-color game, a little bit hit and miss, where at some points after a couple of bad decisions, the fans started whistling him. I mean, you pay your ticket, you go to the game, you have every right to do whatever you want. It's a free country. But for me, morally, there's something wrong with whistling or booing one of your players. And I don't think you don't get anything positive out of it. And if you're a fan, you obviously want to see something positive coming from your team, to be as simple as possible. So I don't understand why people go through that. So Ola John, if he continues to play the way he did today, it might be a bit of a problem. Suleimani was the other thing that came in on the right as a substitute, and he did what we all know he can do. He's a very technical player, but he's been injury prone. So let's hope that he stays pretty much fit till the rest of the year, or to the end of the year, and can add another option down the right, because technically, if you're basing it on just talent, Suleimani has a spot on the 11 now that Salvio's gone. There is obviously always other things involved. Pace, he always looks gassed after about 50 minutes. There's him always being hurt, but in pure technique, he's one of the better players we have.
Yeah. But we also have to take into consideration that Suleimani has been out for quite some time.
So it's kind of rusty.
Since the Europa League final, even though it looked like a shoulder injury that he went through, and he's probably had time to work out his legs, but still, I mean, no competitive rhythm. It's going to take him a while. He's also a guy whose body type is not really perhaps the fittest body type that you want for a player. Always looks a little bit overweight. So I don't know, Steve.
I leave those body type comments to Pedji. He knows about men's body types. Yeah.
I was thinking if you were finding a nice way to say fat, but it looks like.
Well, no, I mean, we all know that the guy, his body type, he looks like he's out of shape. He reminds me of what's the other Cesar that we had a couple of seasons ago.
Bruno Cesar.
Right. I mean, and he just has those type of body types, and I think that's Suleimani. And it also took him a little bit to get going last year, and then when he got going, he was actually pretty good for us. But we got to see. I mean, this is a great opportunity for John. This is a great opportunity for Pizzi, and this is a great opportunity for Suleimani, albeit Suleimani perhaps at a disadvantage coming off of a long injury. We're just going to have to see what develops on the right. Anyway, let's turn our attention now to this is the last podcast of the year, and I wanted to take some time and look at perhaps some moments that you guys considered that were marking moments of the year. Obviously, Eusebio's passing, I thought that was perhaps one of the most marking moments of the 2014 year for the Benfica nation. Eusebio being the face of the club internationally and everywhere, really. I mean, the name Eusebio is synonymous with the name Benfica. So it was a huge thing. Pedji, I'll start with you, and basically, I'm sure you share the same feelings as me, that this was one of the most marking moments of 2014. But from this moment, out of this moment, what were some of the things that perhaps marked you the most? I know that you were at the game. You were in Portugal at that time, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. My brother and I were in Lisbon, staying at the hotel because we just went to a Taça da Liga game or a league match the night before, and I remember waking up. It was, I don't know, 6 in the morning or something, and you just turned the TV on in the hotel, and it was just you got the Rotopay going, and it was quite shocking. And I had, I was going to do stuff, and I just sat there for ages, just contemplating. I remember texting people, and it's quite incredible because I was actually excited to be in the country to see what the birthday celebrations were going to be like, because his birthday was coming up at the end of the month, and it was quite shocking. And then just the way the nation reacted was exactly the way you thought it was going to be. It was declared 3 days of mourning, and then people started making their way to the statue, as we saw. People from all around the world, sportinguistas, everyone, and it was very emotional.
Yeah, Steve, for you, some of the image that perhaps marked you of that moment, or the emotions, some of the emotions that came over you.
I'd like to say if there was an image, it's probably the one where there's the coffin in the middle of the field, and it's just him in the middle of the field. That was a very
in a dreary day.
A very, very moving image, that one. But I said it here on the pod. I think the whole Eusebio passing was just an eye opener for me. I mean, I'm Benfiquista through and through. I know how big the club is. I know how important the club is in Portugal. But after seeing the outpour and all the beautiful things that were said about the man and how he was just a symbol for our club, I had a much stronger realization of how big a club this is after seeing that happen.
Man, to me, let me tell you something. I've heard about it. Obviously, all of us have heard about it ever since we're little kids from our dads, right? Because I believe every single one of us up here, our dads are Benfiquistas. And I'm glad that my dad was a Benfiquista because obviously it led me down the right path. That being said, all of you also know that I do radio in America and stuff like that. And for years, man, I tried to speak about Portuguese soccer, and I try mentioning those episodes of the world and the Rui Costas. Obviously, everyone knows how I feel about Rui Costa and the Figos and everybody else. That's come before really Cristiano Ronaldo, because that's the guy that gets all the hype. But before him, there's tons of great players come out of Portugal that never got the respect that I thought they deserved out here. When I got to talk about Portuguese teams on radio, and we'd get calls, and people don't really pay attention to what I had to say about Portuguese teams. And I tell you, man, when Eusebio passed, obviously we all knew the grandeza, we all knew how big this guy was. But all of a sudden, those same colleagues of mine that pay no attention to Portuguese soccer, what the hell soever, with the exception of speaking about Mourinho or Cristiano Ronaldo, they were taking time out of the days to salute Eusebio and to really write some nice things and to talk about how big and how wonderful of a player and a person this guy was. So that really stuck to me because it was a battle I was fighting with for years. And all of a sudden, these guys finally saw what I saw. And so it kind of felt good in a way because, I feel like I brought these guys to the light and I got them all to see it. And so it was great. It was a great experience. And Steve, you bring up a great point. The coffin in the middle was crazy. And then when you hear about that was the one thing that he always asked for, when I die, que era a última volta. And obviously those will forever stick. But to me, the one thing was when they put that glass cage around his statue, because everybody put all the flowers and the scarves and whatever. That's something to me that will always stick in my mind because that was beautiful, man. And I was proud to be a Benfiquista at a time like that because everybody, like Steve said, or Peggy, Sportingistas, Portistas, didn't matter. You're a Portuguese soccer fan or just a European soccer fan in general. You knew who Eusebio was and you came out and supported him. And I thought that was just a beautiful, beautiful thing to do.
Yeah, not to mention that besides being a great Benfiquista, he was also a great human being that touched a lot of lives, whether you with the Benfica jersey or a national team jersey or even as a human being doing charitable things. And that's something that people respected and looked up to him. I don't think the guy ever had a bad word to say about anybody, and I think that a lot of people understood what the guy meant to the country and to the club. Clubismo aside. I think that was a great thing. And another thing was, go ahead, Chris.
I think the guy deserves a medal just for being one of the few Benfiquistas, along with Montoras, that always comes to Newark, man. Just to have the balls to come to Newark on a weekly or monthly basis, I thought that took a lot of guts. That showed a lot of guts. Yeah. So just for that, the guy was just fantastic.
Yeah, the other thing that we can't forget also was the death of Coluna. And I think that, Eusebio was perhaps the most visible because he scored all the goals. But Coluna was really one of the pillars of that generation of players, both for Benfica and for the national team, that late 50s, early 60s, Benfica won the Champions League back-to-back. Coluna was really somebody that was probably underrated.
Yeah, and let me jump in here, guys, but I'm sorry, Steve and Peggy, but forever, every single time I speak to old-timers, Portuguese soccer fans, and Benfiquistas for that matter, and every time you brought up the name Eusebio and Coluna, right, they kind of made the same comparison. Pele got all the pub and got all the newspapers, but there was a player that a lot of Brazilians believe was better than Pele, and there was a guy by the name of Garrincha, who was supposedly an exceptional winger. And I got a lot of that as well from a Coluna and Eusebio standpoint. Eusebio scored the goals, but Coluna was the heart and soul. He was the motor that made that Benfica team go. Obviously, he didn't get the pub that Eusebio did, but there's many that will tell you he was a better player than Eusebio was. And they just say that whole Benfica squad, man, it was just tremendous at the time. You know, from the goalkeeper to the striker, it was just a phenomenal team, bro. So both of those guys definitely deserve to be remembered with the. Well, obviously, I was going to say with the greats. They are the greats. They ever played at Benfica, and they definitely belong in the ring of whatever you want to call it. Style of lose, which I don't even know. Pedri probably does because he's there every other week. But whatever it is, the ring of VIPs, they definitely belong in there.
Yeah, for sure, and also those two deaths definitely marked the Benfica nation. Another moment that I wanted to, and I guess we could go into date order. Benfica played Porto 7 days after that, and I thought the outpouring of emotion because of Eusebio's passing, and the way the team played with the emotion that the team played, and the domination over Porto in that game, which was something that we hadn't seen in a while.
And don't forget, every single one of the 11 players on Benfica, well, even the bench,
right?
They all had Eusebio on their back.
That's right.
That was beautiful.
So yeah, and that was another marking. Regardless of whether it was against Porto or not, I think that against Porto elevates the thing, and in the grand scheme of things, it elevates the importance of the game, of course, because of Eusebio's passing. But the way the team played that day, and not only seemed fitting as a tribute to Eusebio, but it also seemed fitting to the spirit of the team that time. And Pedri, you had a first-hand look because you were there. You went to the game, so you got to experience that firsthand live. And if you didn't get the goosebumps a few times in that game, I don't know then.
Of course, I got the goosebumps. What are you talking about? No, it was a crazy day. But you felt a little bit different. I mean, I went to a couple of games there, about 5 or 6 games, and it was a bit quiet. The metro, it was full of people, but everyone was just was very keeping to themselves. And when you got into the stadium, and it was kind of raining and a miserable day as well, and they were playing Frank Sinatra's "My Way," which was something very beautiful, and I had the video montage. They had 2-sided cards before kickoff, like black, so the whole stadium was black, and then they flipped it over when the players came out. And the one thing that his wife Flora was saying in the papers, because the Portuguese have a habit of doing this for some reason, but in the minute silence they clap. And
Steve.
She was adamant that he wanted
we lost the viewer.
the crowd to maintain the silence. So the crowd did that, and then the goals, the Rodrigo first time left shot, it was something out of you look at the old Eusebio videos, and it was something right out of that, and it was a great win. Fantastic.
Yeah, and Steve, I don't know if you shared that same at that same moment.
For me, the moment is that goal from Rodrigo. I mean, the mazy run from Markovic, and then that pass, and then the smash finish across on the short side, actually, not even across the goal, and in the way he celebrates the goal with all the emotion after that. That was one of the marking points of the season for me. That's one of the things that I think I have a horrible memory, but that's one of the things I'm not going to forget. Seeing that goal go in, and it being Rodrigo, one of the players that I like the most on the squad, it just all lined up for me. I think the year 2014, since that's what we're going after, on a whole was almost like a fairy tale type thing. I mean, you have the two of the most important figures in our club pass within 45 days of each other, something like that.
Yeah.
You have probably the best squad we've had for a good 20 years, and we win a triplet, like it's called. I mean, it's the stuff fairy tales are written about. It's just.
Why don't you explain to her what a triplet is?
Three.
Inside joke. Inside joke. No, Steve.
Inside
No,
joke.
don't go.
No, I understood what his question. We were talking about
No,
at the beginning of the pod, or actually before we start. But anyway, the other moment for me, and I'll give you a chance for you guys to add your own personal favorite moments of the season, and this is going into date order, as I've said. I thought the fixture against Juve for the semifinals of the Europa League was very marking to me, not only because of how the team played, the spirit of the team in the second leg, playing with 10 guys since the 67th minute, then having Markovic go out right at the end when there were still 4 or 5 minutes to play, and to be able to demonstrate that spirit in Italy against Juve to hold them 0-0. I thought that was a great the fixture overall.
The fixture was tremendous. I mean, you're talking about two of the most storied franchises or clubs in European football. Both clubs have won 2 Champions League. Both clubs have lost 5 Champions League finals. So I don't think you get many, UEFA competitions, UEFA matchups of that magnitude with 2 great clubs with great storied history. So yeah, that was fantastic. And then there was a lot of BS talk between my boy Pirlo, who liked to draw. He felt sorry for Benfica, and it was just tremendous, man. Benfica was able to go out into Turin, which I believe Benfica hadn't won in Italy in God knows how long. I forget the numbers now, guys. I apologize. But it was just, I mean, that whole season, Steve hit it right on the head, man. It seemed like a dream season. It's one of these seasons, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, but it's one of these seasons that we've grown up and kind of gotten accustomed to seeing Porto go through. You know what I'm saying? And finally, the shoe was on our foot, and we finally were able to go through it, and it was just tremendous, man. And I think that's where our club belongs. That's exactly what Benfica means to every single one of us and the world. When Benfica is in the final, when Benfica is in a semifinal, the rest of the world pays attention. Yeah. Okay? All you Portistas, man, look, fantastic. You guys have been around for the last 20 years. Yada, 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 yada. Nobody cares, all right? Benfica gets into a game, and it's a wrap. All right? It's a wrap. Everyone in the opposite country and everyone in our country will be watching. And until you guys get to that level, then we'll talk. And I'm sorry, you guys don't even belong in this conversation.
Veggie, how did you, is that one of your marking moments of the year, of 2014?
Yeah, definitely it was. And another thing that shows how big our club is you saw Juventus's rivals in the city, Torino, just on social media backing
that's
us.
right.
Remembering we have history with that air disaster back in the 50s, and it just people we deserve to be in these finals and semis, and it was great to see.
Pedro, Benfica even gave them their own Benfica shirt, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, there was a visit.
That's correct. Yep.
There was a visit between the 2 presidents, in which some gifts were presented, significant gifts, plaques, and whatnot. But Steve, anything you wanted to add? Was this also one of the moments that marked your 2014 in Benfica's year?
For good and bad reasons. I mean, it was a battle, and from that battle, we lost how many players for the final?
Yeah, we lost Enzo with the red card.
Markovic with the stupid ass red card after he got subbed off.
And there was one more that right now I can't. It's
Enzo.
Enzo
Wasn't Enzo? Enzo got a yellow, whatever, yellow.
He's already said Enzo. There was one more player that. I think
did you say Enzo?
Yeah.
Black Label's talking to me.
I forgot who it was, but you're right. You're absolutely right, Steve. That was it was a great moment, and perhaps that was our final. And my next one, and we'll go right into it, was the final. And look, I know that the Champions League is where you want to be, is where the elite is, but to make the Europa League final 2 years in a row, albeit losing both years, it's still a great achievement. Don't get me wrong. And for us to be there a second time, and this time around we were going into the game actually favored to win this game. And had we not lost the guys that we lost in the semifinal against Juventus, maybe it would have been a totally different story. Steve,
I think I said it here even on the pod, if I remember correctly. I think given the players that were missing, it was a pretty even match. I don't know. They were trying to play the favorite card on us, and I didn't like that because missing Markovic, missing Enzo, it was looking it was looking pretty even, if nothing else. And the fact that it went to penalties kind of showed that. Um, about the final, there's just a couple of things that I that stick in my memory, and one of them is Betu flying off of his line way before the ball is kicked.
Yeah.
The other one is a certain player that's no longer with us, Andre Gomes, who I thought had a horrible match, but was never shying away from any of the drama of the match. He was always asking for the ball, always trying to do more, which probably led to why he had a not so great match. He was trying to do too much. But those were the two things that really stuck out to me. The other, it was a sour end to what could have been a nearly perfect season, though. That being said, I think, as odd as it may sound, I think the Chelsea game hurt more than this one did.
Yeah, we dominated Chelsea, man. We actually dominated Chelsea. Chelsea comes in at the end, he gets that header by Ivanovic and Arturo. All you got to do is look at it. I mean, the guy had no chance. But the one thing, it was a fantastic season. But the one thing, man, I really wanted that Europa League final, just because we've heard about this BS Bella Gutman curse. And I was like, are we finally going to get over the hump? But like you guys mentioned, coming into this game with all the players we were missing, even though, in our hearts, we wanted our team to win, it was a very difficult task. And Sevilla, hats off to them, even though Beto was taking 80 freaking steps outside the goal line. But that's besides the point. It was going to be very tough for Benfica to go out there and win that game, especially with all those players that were missing. But I really wanted that, man. I was asked, did I want the Campeonato or did I want that trophy? And I said, I know it's not the Champions League, ladies and gentlemen, but I want that trophy because I wanted to finally conquer Europe once again, even though it's not the Champions League. But we're bringing home a European title, and hopefully that catapults to the next level.
Yeah, Benji, one of your high moments for the season, I'm sure, the Europa League final.
Yeah, it definitely was. I actually agree with Chris about Chelsea. I think it's because it was for so long we didn't get to one. And it was really emotional, being in May and seeing a European final with Benfica. But we got there a second time, and unfortunately, we, for whatever reason, we couldn't get the job done. But it was definitely a wonderful moment, and also our kids, the UEFA Youth League kids, got to the final as well. They smashed Real Madrid's team 4-0 in Switzerland. Unfortunately, lost to Barcelona, but that was also a great sign, and people are talking about the club. So it's great.
Yeah, and going right from the Europa League final into the triplet, and look, there's something that's never done in Portuguese history, which was the Campeonato Liga, the League Cup, and the Portuguese Cup. Of course, the League Cup is a fairly young competition, so it hasn't been around. But Benfica was the first one to win all three titles. Also, I got to say to you guys, of course, it's going to be one of the most memorable moments of the year. But that thing at the Marquês, and I don't know if from year to year you get more people in there, but that thing never fails to amaze me. It might be the same amount of people, but that is an image that will be forever ingrained in my head. That Festa at the Marquês. Steve.
There's three images that really burn in my memory from last year. One is the one we've already mentioned, the Eusebio one with the coffin in the middle of the stadium. The other one's just a few days later with it's a picture from behind the lineup of 22 players before the match, before the Porto game, and you see all the Eusebios on the back of the jerseys. That's another one. And then the third one is for me the top of them all. That just mass of red at the Marquês de Pombal. It's just like nothing but red and people everywhere. It's really, really impressive. And then just seeing the players kind of let loose and enjoy themselves with the fans and getting an idea of how big the club is for themselves. I mean, Markovic had some nice words to say, and you could see the look on his face. He was just dumbfounded by all the people that were there. I think that was the moment for me after winning the league, after the, I believe it was Olhanense game at the Luge, the parade of the team bus going to the Marquês, that whole maybe 3-4 hour sprint of television. I have it saved on a hard drive here at home, and I put it on every once in a while and just let it play. It's just nothing but beautiful images.
Does anyone here know exactly how many people are estimated to be there? Like 500,000.
I think that at the
something like
time
that. A million. I've heard varying numbers. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm
Because
not
the
really
reason
sure.
why I'm asking, because I get a lot of chat on Twitter through especially these EPL fans and these Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man U, whatever club that they support, and they're like, yeah, we had 80,000 at the Arsenal. I'm like, come on, bro, really, bro? And I show them these pictures. I'm like, there you can do this, then we can talk. You know what I mean? You just got a big fat bank account. But so yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. And it was emotional. I mean, I was watching and I was like, wow. I mean, left me speechless. And guys, we all know up here that it takes a lot to leave me speechless. And I was speechless.
I didn't know it was possible, to be honest, but
That's why Steve's got it on his hard drive in case we come over.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, those were the very 5 moments that actually marked my season. I guess you could throw in a sixth one, which was the semifinal of the Portuguese Cup against Porto, where we lost at the Dragão 1-0, and then we came back to Estádio Luz and won 3-0. We had that beauty from André Gomes at the end, so on and so forth. But what I wanted to hear, I don't know if you guys had another or a couple more moments that marked your 2014 as far as Benfica goes. And Steve, anything else for you that marked Benfica season? Well, that marked you.
The one that I had in mind, you just took it from me. It was that André Gomes goal. As much as I kind of poked fun at him because he did actually shank the shot at the end of it, I really liked the celebration after it, where he's just like all in your face, Porto. You never gave me a chance. I came here and I put it in your face type thing. But
And then he left us like 6 hours later.
yeah, well, that's sadly it's a sign of the times. I think we're never going to be a club that will hold on to its players for a very long time if they're wanted. So that is just the way it's going to be.
Anything else?
No, man.
Dude.
That's the one I had.
The one I have is every single time Jorge Jesus gets up to a podium for a press conference, that sticks in my memory forever because the guy is absolutely tremendous. He is very entertaining. He could go on and leave Benfica and I'll still be tuned into every single one of his press conferences because the guy is tremendous. He loves to talk trash. And then, with his English, and it just, I sent you a couple guys, a couple of their quotes on Twitter. I don't know if you got it last week. But that guy is absolutely amazing. So those are things that I'll take with me forever.
And a big shout out to Magda_16. Salvi was also out of the Europa League.
That's who it was. Thank you.
She tweeted at us, so thanks for that tweet, Magda_16. Everybody.
Grazie, Magda.
And Pedji, for you, any moments besides the ones we just spoke about?
Following on from Chris, it's got to be when JJ is pulled up by the cops in the festivities. Come on, man, that was gold.
That's the other image too. Yeah. JJ with the scarf around his forehead. Yeah. Singing and dancing in the bus.
And you know what? To stick with the JJ theme, the whole 3 fingers at Tim Sherwood.
Tim Sherwood, yeah.
That's another one.
As unclassy as it was typical JJ, and it was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
That's how we do it in Amadora,
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeroen says that it was 200K people that were at the Marquês, and he just tweeted at us. Thank you, Jeroen.
I think it was more, bro. We're just making more. Who cares?
Yeah, 200K. Yeah, 200K is very possible. 200K
more, bro.
Marquês.
Sounds nicer when you say more.
But 200K is still massive, dude. 200K is massive.
200K is about what Sporting gets in 3 seasons at the Al-Hilal. So that's big numbers.
Anyway, where else were we going? Yeah, so that was those some moments perhaps for me, and also just one last thing that JJ when he was dressed up with the scarf in his head, and when he came out of the bus at the Marquês and he was trying to get into the bus, and the security guy didn't allow him because he thought he was just a regular fan. That was great too. That was a great story also. But So that was Benfica's year, and the biggest moments. And I'm sure if you have your own moment in your own memory of the 2014 season, tweet at us at Benfica Podcast, at Tencio10, at Steve Santos 6, and at Peggy Pedge 21, right? Pedge 21.
That's it.
Yeah. So let's move on to another topic, something a little bit more recent. The exit of Enzo. They came back. All the Argentinians came back from Argentina for the Christmas vacation, and then all of a sudden we started hearing things, and Benfica communicated to the CMVM, and obviously all the media outlets picked up on it, that they had received an offer from Valencia for an irrefutable offer from Valencia for 25 million, and Enzo had been authorized to go to Valencia and take his medicals, and so it was a done deal today. It already worked out, but it is something that we had been talking here all throughout this first half of the season, especially after the summer. It was something that we spoke about, that he might leave. I think that I was the one that said that he would leave in the winter, and you guys, he won't leave in the winter.
No, I think Steve agreed with you a little bit. I was the one that was being a little bit more optimistic, and I still feel Benfica made a mistake. I know it's 25 mil for a 28-year-old, but I still feel Benfica should have held on to him, try to win the back-to-back campeonatos for the first time since God knows how long, and then open it up and open up the bidding for every single team around Europe that'll be interested in the guy, because he will not be cup tied. Yeah. So I understand Benfica's their point right now. He's selling a 28-year-old guy. He's only going to get older. He might get hurt. But that being said, man, it just left a sour taste in my mouth. And I touched it last week on a pod when I said, if the guy requested to be subbed at halftime, just so he wouldn't be hurt and he'd be fit for this BS physical that he was going to have to take with Valencia, that really pissed me off. Yeah. As much as I like the guy, as much as I've appreciated his football, even though he's a pain in the ass when he first got to Benfica, then he turned it around and obviously became one of our very favorite players at Benfica. That left a very sour taste in my mouth, and I do still believe that was the case. He wanted to get out because he wanted to be certain that he was going to get his new, pay raise and get the hell out of Portugal and move over to Valencia. So that pissed me off, and that's one thing that always takes with me as far as Enzo Perez.
Yeah, I think that gets at me too. The way he left that game, he probably knew that there was in the works that he was going to leave. But it just, the way he left that game, and
no one had a chance to say goodbye to him. The fans really didn't get a chance.
He could have stayed on. JJ could have subbed him. 5 minutes into the second half, you could have just turned around and clapped at all the fans and all the support, and that would have been done, and that would have been it. Even 2 minutes into the second half, because he came out at the half.
No one expected it.
He wasn't hurt, right? So I don't know. To me, it seems that there was a gentleman's agreement between Luis Vieira and Enzo to leave at some point. For him to leave at the moment of his choice. And before we really get into it, I'll give you some of his numbers, some of his career numbers at Benfica. Total 117 games and 11 goals is tally. Portuguese League, 70 games, 9 goals. Portuguese Cup, 9 games, 1 goal. The League Cup, 6 games, no goals. And in Europe, 31 games and no goals for a total of 117 games played and 11 goals. So quite a good career for a guy that arrived at Benfica. There was some upheaval. He was loaned out, then he came back.
He didn't want to come back.
Right, he didn't want to come back, but and Chris has mentioned this already. JJ takes on these guys, and it's like he's got the Midas touch.
Yeah, and not just that, man. This guy, if you look back at last season, guys, every time Benfica won a title, and even when they lost to Sevilla, he was one of the more emotional guys on the pitch. So it totally caught me off guard. I didn't expect them to just disappear and vanish from Stade de Luz like that without the opportunity of the great fans and the guys that he cried with and the fans that he celebrated with. It was just very, very, to me, in my eyes, I don't know, whatever, very disrespectful. Yeah. What can I say? I thought he deserved, the Benfica fans deserved the chance to give this guy a final goodbye, and I thought it would have been classy, and he could have stayed in the ranks of the Benfica greats, because don't forget, he might not be one of the greatest players Benfica's ever had, but he won a tremendous amount of titles with Benfica, and especially the triplet, which will go forever down in history. Yeah. So he had a chance to be adored by the fans, turn around, like you mentioned, clap at everybody, and he would have been one of the very fan favorites. And I still think he'll be a favorite, but I think a lot of people, like myself, will have a sour taste because I don't think that was classy by Enzo at all. I expected more from Enzo Perez.
Yeah, Steve, I'll let you get the festivities started on this Enzo topic.
You guys have been talking about him for a while. I think the festivities are quite underway. It was out of character. The way he was subbed off, it was just completely out of character from what we've come to expect from Enzo. I mean, Enzo has been just amazing for us. The effort he would put in every match, the emotion that he would show when we lost, the emotion that he would show throughout every game. It was just it did not fall in line with what happened and the way it looked like he requested a substitution so he wouldn't get hurt. It just did not suit his personality, and that's why last week I don't know if anyone heard me because my internet was awful. That's why I said that it just wasn't. It was out of character. I had to give him the benefit of the doubt because that doesn't seem like something he would do. Now seeing how everything is lined up, it doesn't look that way. It does look like he actually meant it.
Yeah.
But pushing all the negativity aside, this was the engine of our team for 2 years. A fantastic footballer, a footballer who had a never say die attitude. One of my favorite players in the squad. If we're looking for moments that really define Enzo's time at Benfica, I think the goal at Sporting is going to be in everyone's memory. I think the tears shed against Chelsea is going to be in everyone's memory as well. I just think that was two marking points that he had with us. I think that's the things that I'm going to remember him for, along with just the tireless running across the pitch and it makes it sound like he was nothing but an athlete that just ran and gave his all. But the man had elegant feet, good touch. I mean, he shields the ball better than most players in world football. He's just a fantastic player. I'm extremely sad to see him go, but all I could do is wish him the best, even if he is playing for Valencia.
Yeah. Don't get us wrong. We all wish him the best.
I don't, because I was waiting for you. I was waiting for Steve to finish his point. I was going to ask Peggy. I mean, is it me, guys? I mean, let's be realistic. The guy finished last season as a tremendous player for Benfica. The guy was a trator. He demolished everything in his way. He had the pulmões. The guy was terrific. And I mean, is it me, or did anyone else notice? It seemed like that was not Enzo these first 6 months of the season, or 4 or 5 months, whatever it is. First half, it was not the same Enzo that we've all been accustomed to. And now, the minute he has a chance to leave, the guy asks for a sub without letting anyone know that he's leaving. To me, that was cowardly. It seemed like he didn't want to be here the whole year. Yeah. So you know what? You don't want to be here, bounce. But that was messed up the way he did it, in my opinion.
Reggie.
I kind of see where Chris is coming from. I won't pretend to know what Enzo was thinking or how these contract negotiations work out. I think he did a little bit in terms of what he gave us last year, but in saying that, he was still working hard and being the footballer that we know he is. The thing that got me was just it was announced that he was signed to Valencia, and then like a couple of hours later he had the scarf out at the airport, and then even a couple of days after that he was training with the Valencia squad. And I know that we live in a professional world, but yeah, that hurt. But I mean, in terms of what he gave to the club and that Enzo Matic midfield was, it's probably one of the best we've ever seen. It's sad to see him go, but you don't wish him well. He's got a big game coming up against Real Madrid in a couple of days or a week. Probably Chris knows better than me. So, well, my favourite memory of Enzo, I've got two. I've got the goal against Sporting where he dropped Eric Dyer twice on the floor. And also I love that goal. I think he scored against Aroca where he lifted up Salvio's jersey because Salvio just got injured. I thought that was nice. But it's Yep, sad to see him go, but yeah, we'll continue. We've been continuing for 100+ years, so Benfica is not players, so we'll just move on.
Yeah, no, and look, we all know what Enzo brought to the team. I just think, and you know, just to go on top of what Chris had said about it, his first 4-5 months, whatever it was with the team, he did seem like the Enzo.
He didn't want to be there.
That didn't, unlike the Enzo that we know. That's why it leads me to believe that there was an agreement that Luis Felipe had said, all right, you stay here. All right, we got the Champions League, and you know, if we got whatever else we got in front of us, Champions League is done, Europa League is done. 25 million for the guy, a guy that clearly had probably asked the president to bounce. Steve, good deal or not?
Here's the thing. Here's my whole thoughts on this whole ordeal, and you guys saying he didn't look himself for the first 5-6 months of the season. I don't think he looked himself for the first 2 months. September, October were bad. November he was already starting to look more like himself, and I think those past few games he's been quite good. Let's try to push away the drama and the speculation, and remember that he did play in the World Cup, and that 95% of the guys that played in the World Cup didn't start the season pretty well, especially you guys who made it all the way to the final. The other thing is, I think we're bypassing a very important detail. This is the exact same price that was being waved around supposedly in the media in the summer for Enzo, and we were insistent on a clause of either 30 or 35 million. That's what I can't remember right now. But now we've let him go for 25. I don't think it's any
plus a $5 million bonus in it, so it comes out to the 30 if he meets objectives. I'm assuming.
Okay.
I didn't know about the bonus.
Yes.
I didn't know about that bonus either, but one way or the other, I think it's I think it's no coincidence at all that he's going for that money now after they were out of the Champions League, and all after any extra revenue that could have came from the Europa League or the Champions League is now out the window. We probably needed this money a little bit more than you guys were thinking, and it was one of those done deals just because of what has happened.
I think that's a great shout. The fact that we forewent that money from the Champions League and from the Europa League, I think.
Europa League is peanuts, but still.
Right. No, but it's still money. But and then you got gate receipts that you also got to account for, depending on the fixture that you draw.
With Coca-Cola.
Bifanas, and Saps, and Superbox, whatever it is. You got all of that you're foregoing. But Chris, here's something for you.
I like that.
Better league.
Yes.
Better salary.
Yes. I think that's what obviously let him down.
Worst club.
Yeah, and I've been waiting.
Worst team.
I've been waiting to say this.
Worst club, worst team.
Yes, I was not worst team. It might be Benfica today. It might be Benfica. They're not that bad as a team. 11 on the field. But the one thing, and I think some of you guys might shoot me after this for saying this, but I know what I'm about to do. I'm about to give our good friend Nilo, what's his name? Neil Fernandez some wings. Neil, you start flapping him. Which is, he absolutely pissed me off when he got this, when he said, I'm coming to around the club. I mean, come on, dude. I think they're in a better league. Oh, I love La Liga, and I know Steve and I disagree on this. I love La Liga. The guy gets to play against the best players in the world on a weekly basis, which he doesn't get to do in Portugal. His salary's probably double, triple, quadruple what it was in Portugal. So hold on, but to tell me it's a better club, I mean, come on, man. That really pissed me off, him and his stupid scarf, Valencia scarf. I mean, when was the last time Valencia was relevant? What, 2002? Piojo Lopez was still there? I mean, who cares about Valencia?
I was still there last time they were relevant.
No, by the way, Mark went back to River Plate. Confirmed today, by the way. He's going back to River.
I thought he said that he wasn't in conditions to play for River Plate.
Those are your sources. My sources said he's playing.
All right.
Confirmed.
But Steve, do you agree that Valencia is definitely not the club at the height of Benfica?
Absolutely not.
As far as team-wise, if Benfica were to play Valencia today,
we'd lose.
Yeah, I think we'd lose. They're not that bad, dude. They're not they're not a superpower. But look at their roster, guys. I mean, Benfica. Maybe if you tell me their roster today.
You got Peter Lim Asian whore money also.
It's quite simple. They've bought a lot of our good players that made it one of that made us one of the better teams in Europe last year.
Only two, Steve.
Mas olha lá, Steve, eu acredito que o Pirlim vem buscar para aquele Espírito Santo que não vale nada. O Pirlim vem buscar para treinar o Valência para a próxima época.
Pode ser. O Sr. Jesus até ir para o Valência. Pode acontecer, mas vamos lá ver.
No, he's not going. Jesus, unless Jesus is represented by by what's his name, Mendes, which I don't know of.
No, Jesus
Okay,
is
so
his
he's
own
not going.
agent. Jesus
Okay,
is
he's not going.
his own agent.
Jesus is like the least.
Jesus' agent is his wife who holds the mass atrás da porta.
Jesus plays different roles. The guy's tremendous. The guy's his own agent, his own spokesperson, his own tabloid, his own market. The guy's tremendous. Look at that hair. That hair speaks for itself. I mean, come on. The guy's tremendous. He's a marketing genius.
It's funny. Jesus mentioned in either the Record or the Bola newspaper interview from
His latest interview, right?
He goes, this year I won't be getting any offers from any different clubs because Benfica is not in a European final. So maybe he won't be at Valencia just because we're not in the final.
No, he won't. Steve, forget about Valencia. He's not going to Valencia. Anyone that's going to Valencia is going to be associated with Mendes. Forget it. Guess he's not going.
More than likely, you're correct.
Yes. But the other thing is, Jorge Jesus, as much as we love him, and everyone here knows how much I love AC Milan. But as he's sitting there saying, "I'm not going to get any offers," I turned down AC Milan. He loves to let everybody know that he turned down a big club like he's.
It's true.
No, that's fine. But he loves to throw it in there. You know what I mean? Nobody even asked him, but he just brings it up anyway.
And big shout out to Mario who's watching M.Dots.
What's up, Mario?
SLB, and he said that take Enzo Cash and renew with Talisca and increase his buyout clause.
I think he's already at 40 million. I don't think.
I don't think Benfica's getting that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 40 million for where he is right now. If he goes next year, I think that's pretty good for a very young player. But anyway, I know that Pedri already mentioned one of his favorite. Was it Pedri or was it you when he sat down two players against Sporting? Was it you, Pedri?
I think it was both of us.
Yeah. Any other? Obviously, the one where he's crying on the final.
Yeah.
That's another.
Even David Luiz was crying in that final.
I was watching the game that we played against Madrid, Real Madrid, and the Eusebio Cup, where he gets the ball from a short corner.
Where we went 5-2.
And he bends the ball into the far corner over the goalie. I know that it wasn't Casillas, but still a good memorable moment. But to me, the most memorable moment is definitely that goal against Sporting where he sits down Eric Dyer a couple times. And also just the grittiness of the guy, those in extremis tackles that he used to make, that he would just chase a guy down and just toe poke a ball away from a guy. I thought the guy was great. Let's see. Look, I wish him a lot of luck. Unlike Chris, I just thought that it was shitty the way he left the club. He could have left it with a little bit more. Well, you don't wish him luck.
We feel the same way. The guy, because now he left my club. I could care less.
Right, but I wish him a lot of luck where he's going.
No, because he's screwed. Had he left with class and dignity the way he should have, I would have still been one of his biggest fans. But right. He left a very sour taste in my mouth. You don't do that to a club, okay, that puts you on the map. A club that treated you like gold, a club that gave you things that other clubs most likely wouldn't have done, okay? Brought you out of poverty in Argentina. We don't even know the hell you were.
Yeah, he's going to he was a couple of Libertadores champion.
Yeah. Who cares? Okay, he came to Benfica. That's all I got to say.
He's going to realize real quick when he gets to Valencia the magnitude of Benfica. Yeah. Them going all over Spain and Benfica going all over Europe and always having fans at the airport waiting for them.
Here's the thing, man. The one thing people got to remember, Benfica travels in a double-decker bus. The rest of these other teams travel in a U-Haul truck. You know what I mean? That's the difference, guys. That's the difference. That Benfica bus, I think I would just sign for Benfica just to ride the bus. I'll watch it.
Here's the question. Would you ride on the first floor or on the second floor?
Both. I'll be all over.
I want to get that second. You would go to the field on the first and come back on the second.
After I scored like 6 goals because I was nasty.
All right, let's skip this. Just to wrap up this Enzo thing, I don't think we'll lose anyone else this winter, especially after going 25 mil for Enzo. I don't think the club will need to sell anybody unless there's freaking crazy offer for Gaetan, which is the only other guy that I see leaving. I don't see anybody else leaving. What do you guys think?
On a permanent deal, I agree with you. I don't think Lisandro Lopez will stay past January. I'm pretty sure he has market in Spain where somebody's willing to play him and he's going to push his.
Great shout, Steve. Great shout.
But aside from that, an actual purchase of an important player, no. But I wish somebody would take Bebe and his crib away because I want him nowhere near.
Bebe and his chupeta and his crib.
Yeah, much better.
Benji, what do you think?
Yeah,
we sell? Or we just clean up?
I don't think we're going to sell anyone unless these Maxi rumors are true, but he's playing for a contract now. So
yeah, he's definitely playing for the contract.
He's
probably already paid the contract. You see the way the guy played today? He didn't miss a step. It's like he didn't fill his belly with bull light.
Well, but remember, right now, the guy, as of right now, he is free to sign with any club.
So he is.
He could be trying to impress.
I think that there's a verbal agreement.
He could be trying to impress. If I'm Benfica, I'd try to get rid of him, get a couple bucks in the bank if I get a chance. And the other guy, man, that always makes me wonder how much longer he will stay at Benfica is Luizão. I think he's going to go down in history as one of the great captains of Benfica in the whole nine because he's obviously played more games than the majority of the guys over the last 20 years. But there's going to come a day here where he's going to want his payday. And
no, he's too old for this.
He'd go to the Middle East. He'd go to the Middle East or something.
He'll go to Dubai. The guy will leave at some point, whether it's now or possibly in the summer. I think Luizão leaves for a payday. Let's be honest, he's 33 years old. He's got very little left in the tank. I think he knows that. I think Benfica knows that. He's going to go get his money. Benfica knows they're going to be able to upgrade at that position. So I think it's a matter of time before he leaves. I don't know if it's now, but we've heard about rumors. Juventus and other big teams are interested in this guy. And I think it's going to be hard to turn down that last payday.
I think that the Middle East people want showstoppers, not fucking giraffes.
I don't know. Listen. The one thing they love is those Brazilians that play on the national team, and he's done all that. So
no, but guys that are skilled and that could attract the crowds, not a big ass center forward with no hair. Center back with no hair.
All right, we shall see.
Anyway,
that's my prediction here before 2015 arrives.
Yeah.
I think he leaves at some point over the next 2 transfer windows.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Next topic is obviously Penafiel game that comes up. Penafiel.
Who?
Penafiel, and they're actually 15th, 3 wins, 2 ties, and 9 losses. They have allowed the most goals in the Liga Portuguesa, and Benfica plays them this Sunday at 7:15 p.m. local, 19:15 for you Europeans or hipsters like Steve.
Hey.
At home, and Benfica actually travels up north to play Penafiel. At home, Penafiel's record is 2 wins and 5 losses. I'm very happy that JJ gave some of these guys that are probably going to play against Penafiel some time just to get the rustiness and the bull hay out of their stomachs and their legs. So I'm happy. I think that the team is going to rally around Enzo's departure. Obviously, Enzo being a critical member of the squad, I think that the team will go hard on this game. It's always tough to go up north and to play in a smaller field, but I think this is a game that's very accessible. Steve?
It's like you said, it's one of those difficult matches on those smaller, tougher pitches. But it's a match where we just have to get the 3 points. 6 points may seem like quite the cushion, but if we don't rally back from losing one of our most influential, if not our most influential player, I think it might end up being a bit more harmful than we may think. So we really have to go into this match at 110% and get the result we need. So I'm thinking it's 100% possible. I don't have any bad feelings about a trap game. How's that? Because I think the team knows that they're going to have to really buckle down, as you mentioned.
Yeah, this is actually a very important game because after this game we host Guimarães, and we all know the campaign that Guimarães has done or has been having this year. Pedro, what's your feeling about the Penafiel game? This is a must-win. We can't go mess around.
Yeah, like you said, they're not very good. I mean, they're coming 15th, and they've got the worst defense in the league, and their record at home is even worse. I think they've only won 2, and they've won 3 on the road. So, we'll definitely need to bounce. They'll probably come out guns a-blazing, maybe, but they haven't been going too well. I saw that they had a friendly. It was either before Christmas or just recently with Shavj, which are in the second tier, and they had a 0-0 draw. So, and I think they had one of their players go out to an Angola team, if I was reading right. So, it could be, and all the Benfiquistas up north, if they show up as they usually do and fill out that the ground, we hopefully will get the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, I know you don't know much about Penafiel, mas isto é carrega para cima.
No, listen, Benfica definitely has to come away with the victory here. There's going to be no excuses. And like you mentioned, great point. They play a very, very tough team the following week in Guimarães, so it's going to be very important that Benfica comes away with these 3 points. And I've always felt that in order to win the Campeonato de Porto, you got to take advantage and not drop any points to these smaller teams, and then obviously take your chances with the Sportings, Portos, and the Bragas of the world. So it's very, very critical that Benfica takes these 3 points, and I think they will. I absolutely think they will.
Especially ahead of the Guimarães game.
Yes, and I think another thing, by the way, Jonas scored another goal today, so I believe he's over year 7.
Dude, it's Mr. Taça Portugal and Mr. Taça da Liga, bro.
They all count the same. So
they count the same. The Taça Portugal is done, so when is he's not going to score anymore in the Taça Portugal?
He's the only guy that showed up that game. Give the guy a chance. I think he'll show up. I think he'll show up this weekend against Penafiel.
I will see. Against Penafiel, it may very well. He may very well show up, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for what we got. But I know that we talk about Benfica as the main team here, but Benfica is not only the football team, not the seniors, not the juniors, and the young teams, but Benfica also has a lot of other sports that are practiced by young men and young women, and sometimes older men and older women. That have had a great year, and I've actually asked Pedji to research, and I know that he follows the club at some length, and Pedji is gonna go through some of what the other sports have done this year and some of the more notable feats. So Pedji, take it away, babe.
Gotta get the guy drum roll.
Yeah. So for our 2014 season, we've been doing very well. Some of you have been in our history and blogs and all that. For those you don't know, when you're associate with the club, you can play a couple of sports, but there's only like the 6 of them which are professional. So I'll go down the list. In our handball and futsal teams, they're in a transition phase. So we've got players coming and going, and we didn't do that well this year, but we did win the cup in futsal. Where we've had the greatest success recently is in the basketball. And the basketball is on a 3-season winning streak. That means they've won the league championship 3 times. They won the cup this year. They won the League Cup, which is the Hugo dos Santos Cup. They won the Super Taça, and they also won the pre-season Trofeo Antonio Pratas. So a clean sweep in the basketball, which is an amazing feat. Of course, they're coached by Carlos Lisboa.
Carlos Lisboa is the Portuguese Larry Bird, for those of you that don't know.
Come on, everybody knows that.
Apparently the greatest basketball player ever. Sorry, Steve.
That's right.
Aliás, é o Michael Jordan, de
It's
Portugal.
Larry Bird.
Oh, Larry Bird. Larry passa.
Go ahead, Pedji.
And we got back into Europe, which is a big thing for our basketball team. Our basketball league isn't one of the biggest in Europe, and we actually got into the Euro Challenge, which is the 3rd tier. And we started a female division, which was good. The volleyball, we won the B, which is a back-to-back titles. We won the Super Cup, and we also returned back into European competition.
Wait, did you just say we won the Stupid Cup?
The Super Cup.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Super Cup.
My bad.
I think that's the that's not the Taças de Cervejas one, but
Yeah. That's the
the
non-alcoholics division.
Yeah. The hockey, we came second this year on equal points with the Longwood. We won the cup, smashing Porto 8-3, which was good, and we qualified for the Sayers Cup, which is like the old Cup Winners' Cup in Europe. And the women won back-to-back titles. They won the Cup and the Super Cup as well. So they were great.
Yeah, the ladies doing well too.
Yep, fantastic. And just the last one was our athletics team. They won everything. So we've got our...
That's a track and field, correct?
That's correct, yep. They won the league championship, which is known as the outdoor men's. We've got the indoor men's, the cross country, the road, and we came second apparently in the Champions Euro Cup of cross country, which was amazing.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. And a lot of people don't understand, and not understand, but don't know what else is around the club as far as other sports and young men and young women that are supported by the club. Some of them salaried, some of them amateurs. But it's a great thing to go into competitions and represent Benfica. And to take Benfica's name, whether it's all over the country or all over Europe and the world.
I know you guys might not like this, but I'm against that 1,000%.
Why?
Because Benfica is a soccer club and they make their
No.
money.
No, a soccer club. Look at the crest you have on your
Look
chest.
at the crest. Behind the eagle, there is a bicycle wheel, and cycling has a huge part in the history of the club. Well, guess what?
Hoje não há dinheiro para nada, meu. O Benfica, listen, the reason why our club is in the position that we are, that we have to sell the Enzo Perez's of the world, is because we have this money funding everything else.
No.
I'm against it. I'm sorry. I'm against it.
Chris,
and for your information, Benfica was
I'm not saying they weren't.
Portuguese club that had the most Olympians in the last Olympics.
Mas agora, hoje não quer saber nada disso.
É igual, man.
I don't care about that.
Chris, if you're going to hold on to the history of the European Championships and the Eusebius and the Colunas and the 33 championships that we've only won, what, maybe 5 or 6 within the past 20 years? Or 30 years, maybe even? You can't throw away the history of the cycling and of all the other modalidades that make part of the club.
Not throwing that away, but I feel that Benfica should solely concentrate on football. That's it. Just like the Chelseas of the world, they got women's soccer. Okay. And the bigger clubs of the world is the reason why. Well, you say Wolf, but today we can't compete with those teams. We can't compete with those teams.
Let Peggy jump in like a kangaroo. Go ahead, Peggy.
Yeah, it's important to note that, like the members of the club. I mean, I don't want to get into this, but the members of the club are members of the club, so they've got every right to represent the team in whatever they do. We all can't be footballers, so there are those 6 what they call professional divisions, but Benfica play 20 and 30 other sports. And I know what you're saying. I've heard a lot of people, especially when they're outside of the country, like immigrants like us, say that we should just pour all of our money into our football and just push for that, but.
Yeah.
When you're over there, it's just incredible when you meet people that have actually worn the shirt, or in whatever they're doing. It could be fishing or Swecker or whatever. It's amazing. So it's always important to remember. Got to support the other sports.
No, not guys. I don't think you're all any of you are grasping what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying like, all right, erase it from the minds. And forget about the ciclistas.
Those things fund themselves, dude.
I don't.
Very little money goes into that.
So, where the hell does all this Benfica for selling players money go? Where the hell does this money go?
Goes into our debt. When we had presidents that dug us, that buried us in debt, all the money is now is anyway. Also, Mario is saying, don't forget Miss Benfica, and also. Mr. Benfica himself, Steve Santos, he's a looker. All the ladies like him, and that's why some of the ladies watch our podcast. And we have Steve on just for that reason.
That's it. It's not the chalkboard, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get fooled.
It's the dimples.
Steve, I liked you before I saw your picture, mate. So.
Steve, you had me at hello.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so no, I think that as a club, and when your origins of the club is to create an atmosphere in a club that obviously people can come and be members and be part of a club. And I think that a lot of those sports are a part of the origins, as Steve has mentioned and as Peggy has mentioned, are part of the origins of the club. If you're a member right now of the club, you can actually go to the club's pools and swim for free.
I mean, they can still pay. What does that member have to do with what I'm trying?
It doesn't matter.
So if Benfica's just solely a soccer club, they still can have members? They can have members. No one's saying to take away the membership. What I'm saying is stop, concentrate. Listen, make
That is
it
privileges for members.
Chris,
you can become
the members want to play those sports. Like if the four of us want to represent Benfica and
let Parker
fishing,
who's teams, man. Parker, let him play at the park. Listen. I'm not saying that Benfica maybe shouldn't start something. I just think that Benfica should solely concentrate on football. And I've been saying that for years.
What do you think the money that when people go and watch the futsal or go watch basketball that fill the gyms?
What do they make it? $5?
They make enough money. They got also sponsorships. I don't have anything against the club being in.
We got a television station to fill up.
I want to see.
Right.
I want to see the numbers.
You got to play some. You got to put some content on that BTV.
I want to see the numbers. That's
anyway. Speaking of BTV, don't forget to check out Fubo, FUBO.TV/Benfica podcast, where you can sign up. I watched some great streams in Benfica TV 24/7. Anyway, time to go.
Roku?
Yeah, on Roku.
Roku.
Your Android set-top box. You can also get it on your laptop. If you're out of the United States, there's a plugin for Chrome, HOLA. Check that out. That circumvents the geo-blocking. What else? Roku, Samsung Smart TV. You can get that on.
Can't get it on here.
iPhone,
That's
iPad. Android tablet, you can get it, trust me. Anyway, don't forget to check out our friends over planetbenfica.co.uk. They're remodeling their site. It's looking very nice. I was there today. So if you have a chance, get in there and check those out. Reggie, anything you wanted to plug, man?
No, not really. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy new year. And a special thanks to @Magna_16 that helped me out with all the Modalidades thing. So thanks a lot, and thank you everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw you guys exchange some information on Twitter, and it was quite remarkable that a lot of people, unlike Cristiano, are not ignorant about the other sports in the club. So it's very nice to see that people support, and they go out to the gyms and support these teams. Hockey and patins,
let me see you.
Sueca, pesca, bilhar.
Canasta,
canasta, a malha, os ferrinhos, whatever. There's teams for
gymnastic
everything.
Dancing.
Go out, gymnastic dancing, right? Synchronized swimming.
Yeah. Is that the Bella move that what's his name does?
Yo, the day I see any of you clowns in a Benfica cycling uniform, right, nice skin tight, then I'm gonna take your word for it. Until then, leave me alone.
My package,
soccer, that's
my package is too big. I can't fit in those shorts.
Oh, Jesus. And that's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's about it.
Listen, before we sign out, guys, I'm looking for a what is it?
Software designer?
Developer.
Software developer.
Yeah. So, guys, if you want to make some money, hit me up. I'm looking for that. So. Send them my way. The other thing is,
you could be the next Bill Gates.
Yeah, poor child. I'll buy Benfica, guys, and I'll get rid of all the other Modalidades, whatever it's called. but listen, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you guys for the support. And let's hope that they find this new airplane, Air Malaysia, whatever.
They found it, man.
Oh, they did. Yeah. Okay, that goes show around. All right, never mind. Sorry, forget that part. Edit out.
Yeah, Steve, I'll let you go before I have the final word. @SteveSantos6 is where you can find o Bonitão do Benfica.
The what?
O Bonitão do Benfica.
Yeah, don't add the 006 or else you're not going to find them. So remember, it's
you're only 06.
It's just 6. No zeros, no O's. I'd just like to wish all of our listeners a very happy new year, and hopefully we will be celebrating yet again in 2015.
Peggy, and you already had your last word. It's Pej Peggy 21 or I always get that wrong. Sorry, buddy. It's
No, you're
at
right. Pitch 21.
Pedge 21, our friend over in the other side of the world in Australia, down under, mate. And Cristiano 10, CO10. And obviously, at Benfica Podcast is where you can find us. Wanted to wish a very happy New Year, a prosperous and healthy New Year to all of our listeners, and especially for the people that closely support and follow the podcast. It's been a great year. We've had the pleasure of adding Cristiano to the permanent role of the third person, a role that we weren't sure we were going to fill. We thought it was just going to be a swing role, but Cristiano has come in, and despite some of the people not liking that he speaks too fast, we think that he adds a great dimension to the show. So I wanted to thank everyone that supports. Wish everyone a happy New Year. Also, the guys that have come on and added their contributions to the podcast, thank you very much. Thank you, Steve, for being so good looking, for letting the ladies follow us.
Thank his parents.
And Peggy, your support, unwavering support is great. Marco Lopes also, that couldn't be here tonight. I know that he wanted to be here. Nelson Lucindo, who runs our Facebook page at Talking to the Dolphin Benfica Podcast is the page on Facebook, so look that up. Neil, Laura,
Mr. Saravio, who is
Mr.
watching.
Saravio, who's been he is watching us. Oh, great! Hello, Pedro. Pedro hasn't been on in a while, and you know we miss him terribly. I wish he makes some time to come on sometime. And if I'm forgetting anyone, I apologize. But very grateful for all the support and wishing a very happy New Year from our family to yours, and all the best for 2015. I think that's about it.
Let's get the pod to 1,000 followers. You guys are slack.
At Benfica Podcast. Don't forget to follow and spread the word. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, RSS feed, or however you may like it. And you've been listening to the Talking to the Dolphin Benfica Podcast, episode number 140. Last episode of 2014. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you next year.
Happy New Year.
Ciao.